A new frame, hydraulic clutch, and a theft prevention device. This highlights some of the things that are new on the 2026 Yamaha YZ450F. Welcome back to Vinyl MX. I'm your host, Michael Lindsay, and as always, any of our news break features are brought to you by our fine friends at 6D Helmets. The all-new ATR3 features the third generation of the ODS omnidirectional system. This is the latest and greatest from the helmet company that brought rotational energy management to the forefront of all motocross riders' minds. If you want to learn more about the ATR3, head over to 6dhelmets.com. Yes, Yamaha has released a new YZ450. They actually unveiled all of their 2026 off-road, motocross, off-road, dirt bike related product this morning, but the bike that's highlighted in it is the 26 YZ450, and there's a host of changes to talk about. Now, one thing to cover, this is basically a mid-generation cycle update. Yamaha's gotten kind of really familiar with doing this for the last little while, where they'll release a bike, they plan to have it for 4 or 5, maybe 6 years in a cycle, something along those lines, and partway through that generation, they roll out a few updates to it. And it's typically in the sense of a little bit of engine, a little bit of chassis, a little bit of suspension, just kind of sprinkling it in. And in this case, we'd have a little bit of design change looks-wise. Pretty minor, but it's there. So again, the 450 is the one that gets all these updates. The 250 is basically the same this year. We'll probably see something similar to this next year on the 250. Maybe even a new engine, if rumors are to be understood correctly. But starting with this 450, let's knock out some of the real basics. So first off, you have your Yamaha Blue and you have your white and red 70th anniversary edition. I know a lot of people are like, wait, didn't we just get a 50th like a year or two ago, the white purple one? That was the 50th anniversary, I believe, of the YZ line. This is the 70th anniversary of the whole, Yamaha, like the company, like Yamaha motor. So we've gone with the red and white livery. You can get the blue, I believe it's for $10,299. It will be available in like September? Yeah, I should look this up. August, I think it's the end of August. And then the white and red 70th anniversary is $200 more, and it should be available in October. The other small changes to the bike that are more cosmetic is a new 2-piece side panel with a different bolting pattern. A little bit better just overall than the design they have now, a little better ergonomically. It also has a new front number plate, and then of course the graphics are updated based on the two we just mentioned. Also, new seat cover. It has this little kind of like diamond-shaped design on it. It looks more like a gripper cover, and it's meant to grip you when you slide back, but allow you, the way the pattern is put on it now allows you to slide forward in the corners pretty easy. So those are your little ergonomic updates. Let's knock those out of the way. So let's talk about what's technically new, what's more performance-based. The chassis is the biggest change, and it was pretty obvious coming into it when we heard there was going to be a frame update coming down the road that Yamaha was probably going to try to blend the gains that they made in the 23 newer chassis and the 22 chassis, because 23 newer chassis, it is a lot better on corner entry, you call zone 1 to zone 2 basically, entrance to middle to apex. Front grip is a lot better, front feeling is a lot better for riders knowing where the front end is. The bike is more precise, it is more nimble, a lot of that with the ergonomic changes in the weight as well. The one thing it probably lost compared to the outgoing bike we've talked about though is some of the front end comfort, just some of the feedback the rider receives through the bars, through like the head stay, because that area of the chassis is stiffer on the newest one. And then also maybe a little bit of stability. The new bike reacts a little more to the surface, so it can be a little bit twitchier at times. So everything that they've done to the frame now, they've changed some of the spar thicknesses, head stay, down to the cradle. They've kind of changed that whole area of the frame, mostly to try to get back some of the comfort and stability they had on the old frame, but without giving up what they gained on the new one. So basically, their goal is to mesh the two together, keep all the good from the latest generation frame, but gain back a little bit of that comfort and stability. So we're really excited to try that out. That would be a huge one, because it went from the Yamaha having a lot of track toughness, being really easy to ride track to track, to losing a little bit of that at times on the newer bike. So if we could gain that back, it would be really, really helpful. Engine-wise is a combination of power and sound. We have some new FIM sound regulations coming in. They're dropping the max RPM tests. I think it's from 113, 114 to 109 decibels. They're running it in Europe. We were supposed to run it in AMA next year, but we heard this last weekend, they're pushing it back 1 year. Yamaha is one of the OEMs that produces now a world spec bike. So the bike in the US is the same as Europe, same as Australia. They have test teams everywhere that help each other, but basically they need to get through that sound in Europe. So they have a new airbox that has a different nozzle or whatever they're calling basically into it. It has a resonator built in there somewhere, and then there's a new resonator in the exhaust, and all this is to help lower the decibel to basically make the bike where it will pass those regulations stock. So if somebody buys a bike stock, wants to race in a national, even the stuff in Europe, all the club track stuff, all that is good. To help kind of meet some of the performance loss with the sound, they've updated intake port design in the cylinder head to get a little bit better combustion, as they say, a little bit better connection, more linear power, probably a little bit better torque there, and have updated the mapping to kind of offset that. And then of course the big one we mentioned again, hydraulic clutch. Yes, this bike is now coming standard with a hydro. Yamaha was the last outside of the Suzuki that hasn't changed since 2018 that still has a cable clutch. Now, before everybody wants to go light the comment section on fire, because it's already happened on our social media that when we posted this bike this morning, you can change it back to the cable. It's basically the same engine cases, and they've had the option to put a hydro on it through the GYTR Brembo kit. Well, it's the same thing production now, so you can go back. If you are dead set on you want the new bike, but you want the cable, you can just go to your Yamaha dealer, you can go online, wherever it is, Parts Fish, wherever you use. You can order the cable clutch actuator arm, you can order the arm, the cable, the clutch perch. You can turn it back into a cable bike. They are selling it standard as a hydro, and it's not the same as the GYTR kit. It's a little bit different slave cylinder, and the master cylinder is not a Brembo unit, it's actually a Nissan unit that they've been working with. So, okay, simply put, there are people who die hard. Yes, the Yamaha's been the only cable, and a lot of us still like cable clutches. They've come along with the hydro. They know based off market research, that's where everybody else is. They get a lot of consumers that do want it. So it's standard. You can switch it back. For those that want the cable, I know it sucks, but you can turn it back. So thank goodness there. At least the option exists. And I do thank Yamaha for leaving us with the option if you do want to change it back. Other updates throughout the bike are a little bit more minor because of the chassis update. We have suspension update, front and rear. They've gone through and redone their settings, both front fork and rear shock. Rear shock has a little bit of an easier to adjust dial tool now. There's a couple other minor durability items throughout the bike. The last thing that stood out to me in the press release they put out this morning was that now in the Blue Crew, what do they call it? The Yamaha, the Power Tuner app. There is a function to lock your motorcycle so it won't start. There's a password engaged system you can put in the app, assign it to your bike, and basically make it where your bike can't start with the ECU anymore. So if you've got it in your garage, you've got a truck, wherever, you can disable it as soon as you're done at the track, as soon as you bring it home, wash it, whatever you want to do. And until you open the app and disable it, the bike will not start. You can sit there, hold the starter, nothing will happen. It's not exactly a theft deterrent in the sense that somebody can still take your bike, but if somebody takes your bike, they won't be able to start it. They would have to take it to a dealership or a shop to try to figure it out. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And I think that's really cool. The more they add to their app, the more I'm always impressed that they have some really cool features in there outside of all the map tuning and stuff we've seen before. As always, the bike comes with any of the other features that you've seen in the prior YZ models. One thing I thought was interesting is they are still an MX33 on the tires. They haven't updated to the 34, so they did all their last round of testing still on 33s and stuck with that. Anyways, I will say, I can't wait to get one of the 70th anniversary ones. I love the white and red so much. If you have any thoughts, throw it in the comment section below. Are you looking at YZ this year? Do you like the new look? Do you like the updates? Do you want to light them on fire for the hydro cable thing? Again, you can switch it back. Give us your feedback in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching here on Vital MX.